You know, I don't want to be redundant to a 40-minute workshop that was done last 2 weeks ago. But Pat, as you get up to answer any questions that the board may have before we do this resolution, I think the MRB as being the design entity for this, a service provider, we went with MRB and we want to do this now because the people are on site and there are some efficiencies of if we get this going now, while the stuff is still on site, that it would potentially have the lower bids when we get to the bid process. This is not the bid process, it's the design. Right. MRB was picked to do this because they were the ones who did the out in Buffalo. Clarence, thank you. And Councilman Bill Abbott did a wonderful job with Pat Stevens back in the 22-23 time frame. We went with MRB because this is their bailiwick. They have done other garages, highway facilities, and I think it has worked out very well. And they are the obvious choice. I don't think we went out and said, let's go and ask 3 or 4 or 5 to put out to bid on MRB's services, because they have been working on this project hand in hand with Campus Construction Management. It was the obvious choice. I don't know if we got to do a deep dive of that 2 weeks ago when you were presenting. I know your presentation showed that we were going to cascade into tonight and start the process. And the only way you can start the process on a municipal project, the wash building and the salt barn, is to start with the design so that we can move along to putting out bids for the low bid from the actual contractor. So, with that being said, before we do the, and I can't do this motion because it's authorizing me to sign this. Do the board members have any questions of Pat? Anybody all on this, as far as it's a service and why we went with MRB?
I don't have any questions. I just have a couple comments, and want to thank you, Pat, for giving me the tour today. The highway project, the garage, is what a phenomenal project. Everybody that has been joined to complete that project has done a fantastic job, from the finishers to the construction guys, the steel framers. I was really impressed. And one of the things, Barry, that I did want to take a look at was a salt barn. And Pat educated me as to when it was built, the current condition of it. I think the last time we did some work on that was to put the metal roof on it, and I believe that was back in 1990. And to your point also, Barry, with respect to not really keeping up with the buildings and the sewage treatment plant, and has brought us to where we are today, where we're expending massive amounts of money, in my opinion, because there wasn't enough forethought and money put away in reserves. Now, as to the salt barn itself, I'm on the same page as you, Barry, and Pat, and probably the other board members here, that we definitely need to move forward with this project, in my opinion, based upon my visiting and speaking to Pat and input from Barry. It's a worthwhile project. We really need to do it. And Barry's point that he said, you've got all the construction crews there right now, and there's this thing called mobilization. So if we don't do this now, there will be a mobilization charge to bring them back. So I'm for this, for sure. In favor of it.
Was this designed before? When it was initially planned and scoped, was it designed before, and is this like to refresh the design, or?
Great question. That's actually the one thing I wanted to talk about. Tom got into a little bit about the selection of MRB. The major factor of this is, given it was in the original scope, the salt barn design itself, it already was brought to 95% by MRB. So there's only a 5% initial design left. The rest is construction documents, and then the wash bay that wasn't done in the original design. So that was the major factor, was sticking with MRB, not doing a lot that the concept that somebody would be able to come in and start from scratch with the same efficiency that MRB already went to 95% with a schematic design, isn't really feasible. So because this was included in the original scope, as Mary mentioned and a few other people, and only cut out to make sure we were our budget, didn't have problems when it came to awarding bids, the majority of the initial design is complete. So this is completing that design, getting construction level documents. So they're at design, and then we brought to construction, and then the actual package, the specifications and things of that nature need to be developed, and the wash bay structure needs to be incorporated into that. And that's what the scope of services from MLB does all the way through the end of bid. So we'll finish the design now, if they support us with the bid documents, we get the bids, and that's where the scope that we're talking about tonight ends.
And if you started from scratch, how much more would it cost for the extra fees and the mobilization and starting all of the design from scratch?
I don't know if we broke that out. The initial professional services contract was for all of the facility upgrades, which included the salt barn in the larger lump sum. So I'd just be speculating to break that out exactly, but if you just went by scale, you know, this is 118,000. The majority of the design, 95% is done. So if this is the last 25% between the production documents, you could say significantly more. More than that.
Jenny, any questions or comments?
I'm gonna wait until for the books, and I will,
Oh.
my
Well, like I said, I can't make the motion.
I will make the motion to authorize the supervisor to sign a contract approving MRB Group for the site and building design for the highway salt barn, truck wash building, not to exceed $118,500.
Second.
Councilwoman Wright,
Aye.
Councilman Cahill,
Aye.
Supervisor Flaherty,
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn.
First of all, I would like to thank Pat for, all your dedication and all your, the town and everything that you've done. And you went under, the cost of the estimation. A matter of fact is because of the inflation and material costs and everything else that we are going to be incur. And even though we're under $6 million, right now, like I said, potentially there's grants out there. I would like to see if we can possibly try to get some grants. I know that there are a web seminar coming up on March 12th, and maybe we can try to see if we can, apply for that. And also too, that doesn't mean that, we save money and now we're gonna go out and try to spend more money, for the town. And I'm hesitant, and at this time, I don't think I'd be able to vote yes on this because of that issues. I would like to see if we can have some grants, to come in for it and stuff like that. So this way it would help lower the cost, for us, for our town, because of the debts we're in right now. So my vote would be nay.